Hello YouTubers, and welcome back to Go Figure Customs YouTube channel. I am finally back once again from the lovely country of Ukraine for a few short weeks. May not be that lovely, actually. You know, if it's on your list of places to go visit, go somewhere else. Let's see, today I was gonna do a video with a customizing legend, Marcus Aiken, the irrepressible dark horse. We were going to do that live. He was going to be here with me, and we were going to do a show for the YouTube channel, but unfortunately, due to circumstances beyond his control, he was not able to make it out to Colorado this time. Probably be next year before he can get out here, but so it goes. My other planned to shoot a video was to do an unboxing video of the JoyToy Armed Forces USMC figures. But then I thought, yeah, do I really want to do an unboxing video and just like open it and say, yeah, here they are? Or do I want to do a review? I actually wanted to do a review of the figures. So it didn't really make sense to do an unboxing video to do a review of something that I hadn't even interacted with. Now, this definitely has the potential to be a very kind of hot topic because there's a lot of people getting these and a lot of people not liking them too. And we'll get into those reasons why. So, I think I've been getting the JoyToy figures since they've been coming out. I've got all the cyborgs and the Russian troopers as they've come out. I really like the figures. I don't use them too much. I have them displayed on my USS flag. I have a running battle on the deck of my flag between Cobra and G.I. Joe, and just kind of a multiverse thing, because I've got characters, Hellboy's on there, Iron Man's on there, I've got Captain America's on there, I've got characters and figures, I've got a little like 4-inch Soundwave figure that's on there. So I have like a multiverse battle going on. So I've been using the JoyToys, the Russian guys, in conjunction with Cobra, storming the flag. And I've liked the figures so far. I think they're really cool figures. I think they're highly detailed, they're highly articulated, and overall, I think they're decent figures. That is not everybody's opinion, however, and it's a valid opinion too, unfortunately. So the thing about those figures is you could get them one at a time. They came out in a wave of 3 each, and you could get you could get 1, you could get 2, or you could get all 3. And then they announced the United States Armed Forces figures, which I automatically just fell in love with just from the pictures, because if you've seen my customs, and I'm guessing that you have if you're watching my channel, you'll understand why I really like the figures just based on the promo pictures. They are in the style of the type of custom that I like to make, which is the realistic military figure. In fact, when I opened the box of these things and started pulling them out, my wife looked at them and she says, "Oh, they look like your figures. Like they look like your customs." So I think that's a pretty good example of why I like these figures just from the promo pictures. Now, I think what a lot of people are having problems with are QC issues, quality control issues. And unfortunately, I've had that problem too with this set. So, as I mentioned, you could get the Russians and the cyborgs, they came in, you could get individually. So the United States Armed Forces ones, you had to buy the set of them. You had to buy, and they come in a set of 5. There's 6 boxes. The sixth box contains some extra weapons, some extra accessories, and we'll look at all of that here in a minute. But I think that's kind of the downside of this particular wave, is that you have to buy all of them. So if you bought all of them and weren't happy with even one of them, suddenly it's a big investment on something that you might not be happy with at all. It's like I was gonna buy them all, so it wasn't a big deal for me. But somebody that wasn't too sure, they've been seeing in the Facebook groups that maybe there's a lot of quality issues with these things. So do I really want to throw down for a set of 5 of these? Can't I get just one? Yeah, you probably can on eBay, or you might be able to find somebody in the Facebook groups who's selling them because they didn't like them. But I'm not too enamored with the fact that you gotta buy the whole set at one time. Even though I was going to do it, I can see why a lot of people won't want to do that. So you open up the box, and there's 6 little boxes like this. And this is the box for the first figure, and you can see at the bottom that it's labeled with an A. So this is the first guy here. And we're going to just kind of review the figure in general. So the figure comes in plastic. I wouldn't call it quite a display case, because if you put the figure back in there after it's assembled, the head is underneath the figure stand, and they all have a figure stand on the top of the lid to the little case they come in, which is pretty cool. And the texture on the figure stand is different on each one of them, which is also kind of a neat little thing. It's not that impressive, but I think it's kind of a neat little detail. And then they all come with this little piece of paper with kind of shows what they come with, and then shows what it looks like all put together. So this is figure A, and here is figure A right here. So let's go over the figure just in general for a moment. I think this is the right figure. Yeah, this is the right figure. So we've got the articulated head on a ball joint. It's actually a ball jointed neck, so there's a ball joint where the neck meets the base of the skull, and then there's a ball joint where the neck meets the torso. It's got your standard articulated elbow, shoulder and elbow, and then it's got a wrist joint as well. The plate carrier comes off the figure to begin with, so you got to remove the head to put the plate carrier on, and it's got little pegs for it to close up on the side. I can never get those pegs to fit in on any figure I've ever owned that has pegs for vests or body armor or anything like that. It also comes with a belt, and then a thigh holster with a pistol, and then another drop-down thigh holster or a pouch. The pistol's removable. It's a little nice little pistol with a tactical light on it. And then the close-up of the rifle that he comes with there. Not really focusing in on that. There's a ball joint above the waist, and then it's ball jointed hips, a swivel in the lower hip, and then a double jointed knee. That's got a rotation, and I guess it's a ball joint. I haven't looked at it. Ball joint in the foot, and then there's a joint into the foot, kind of like some of the Marvel Legends figures have. I'm not sure, but I don't think I've ever seen a figure in this scale with that joint in the foot, which is kind of cool. Not It's not like a huge selling point to me, but I don't know. It's pretty cool. The plate carrier has a knife attached on the top, and the knife is removable, which is pretty cool. The plate carriers, I think, are all different, or pretty close to different for each figure. So he's got two pouches and then two magazines, uh, a larger pouch on the back, and then a radio with the comm cable going to the front of the chest. The helmet isn't removable; it's all one sculpt, um, and that's kind of the figure in general. Um, so to so okay, so how do you get all this stuff on? Well, with any of these small batch toy company figures, I'm gonna say you're gonna want to heat them up first, before you start even playing with them, and that's the JoyToy figures. That's the Devil's toys. They do the War of Order figures, the Cyborg Warrior figures, which are really cool. I love those. I got the set for those while I was gone as well. Um, and Haya Toys. They do the Predator, and then Predator. They have the Predator line, the Aliens line. I don't have any of the Alien stuff, and the DC Injustice line. I did get a couple of the Injustice line figures. I have the Batman, and then I haven't opened them yet, but I have the Harley Quinn in the original color scheme and Red Hood. I'm gonna get into those later today. So they most of them come with interchangeable forearms. I don't think this one did come with a second set of arms, so he's got just the short sleeves. Um, I love the detail on this. They do say that these are United States Marines. They didn't really do a good job emulating the Marines' digital camo pattern. This is more along the lines of what the Army or the Navy would wear. The Marines have a very, very unique camo pattern, as does the Air Force, and it's not a Marine camo pattern. So I'm gonna, as much as I like realistic military stuff, I'm gonna say that that's something they could have done just in 5 minutes worth of research on Google to get the Marine camo pattern down right. But it's a good digital camo pattern. I do like the figure. So for me, these guys aren't really Marines. I'm going to use them as more of a SEAL team because the camo is more reminiscent of the Navy, what the Navy wears. So to me, these guys aren't Marines. They're going to be Navy. It comes with the rifle, like I said, the pistol, the knife, and then they all come with this. I have no fucking idea what this thing is. I thought they were handcuffs at first, but I don't think so. I thought it might be a rifle sling, but it's too short for a rifle sling, and the ends of it look like D-rings or carabiners that are sculpted on to his belt. So I'm guessing it's supposed to be paracord on two D-rings. I don't know what it's for. I don't see it in any of the packaging art. I don't see it. They do show it, that he comes with it, but once he's all put together, it doesn't show where it goes. So I have no idea what that is or what it's for. It's not really useful in any way that I can tell. So that's the A figure right there. Let's set him aside. So yeah, to get the pouches on, I heated them up. I heated the leg holsters, the leg holster, the leg pouch, and the belt up in hot water. If you're going to do that, what I recommend doing is getting a coffee cup specifically for that. Um, let's see if I can get a picture of the inside of there. See, I've been using this for years. Look at that stuff in there. If you're going to heat figures up, um, get a coffee cup that's number one wide. I also recommend some hemostats just to dig into the hot water and get it out. Um, my best results have been heating the water up for 3 minutes in the microwave. Doesn't matter what microwave you've got, what wattage or anything like that. A lot of the times I will heat the whole figure up. I will just submerge the whole figure and heat it up for 3 minutes. I've not had any big problems heating the whole figure up. I've done that with the Devil's Toys War of Order figures just to make sure that all of the joints were loose before I started playing with it. I'm pretty sure I would have snapped off joints had I not done that before I started playing with that. I also do that with the JoyToy figure, or the Hiya Toy figures. I'll do that with my Red Hood and my Harlequin. I'll submerge them and I'll put them in the microwave for 3 minutes, and that's enough to soften it up. I didn't microwave these guys. The joints are pretty loose on these guys as it is, so I wasn't too worried about breaking joints, even though I've seen that's an issue on Facebook. Kind of the one downside to this is normally 3 minutes of hot water is enough to soften any plastic up to make it very malleable, but the plastic they're using is some weird concoction recipe that I haven't seen before, and the pouches and the holster and the belt didn't really soften up that much. Normally the thinner plastics like that, the like holsters and belts and stuff like that, and the plate carriers and vests and stuff, they will just turn to like really soft rubber once they've been submerged in hot water for a couple of minutes. These didn't really get that soft. It's kind of an unusual occurrence for me. I haven't seen that sort of problem before. Not that it was that big of a problem. To get the belt on, the belt does open. On one figure I opened it and was able to close it again, and then on another figure I was not able to get the little tab back in to close it on the other figure. So what I did was took the belt off the figure, closed it, heated it up, and then popped off the waist piece while I had the legs off to get the vest on, or to get the leg pouches on, and that was a lot easier than trying to open the belt and trying to secure the belt around the waist. Okay, so like I said, that was the A figure. So it's just an assault helmet with the kind of a large, kind of a large M4. It's got a scope, a laser sight, and a tactical light on it, and a nice magazine with the pull-off on it. I think the weapon is a little oversized. All of the weapons that come with these figures, I'm not really impressed with them. I'd say they're middle of the range as far as detail. The plastic is decent. I don't think you're not going to break them. It's not a hard plastic, and they're not too soft where it's just going to be droopy. I really hate that with something like trying to think who has like Star Wars weapons. They went to a real soft plastic in the 30th anniversary line, and you got a stormtrooper holding a gun, and you could shoot around the corner because the barrel's so bent. No wonder they can't hit anything. It's because their weapons are limp-dicked. So, as far as the quality of the weapons go, they're better than like Lanyard Corps weapons, which are, like they come with a pistol, and it's like, yeah. stupid oversized. It's better than some of the GI Joe weapons. GI Joe's kind of stepped it up the last few years, you know, when they were still making figures, as far as detail towards more realistic weapons. So it's better than some of the older GI Joe weapons, but maybe not as nice as some of the newer stuff they've put out. And it is definitely not as good a quality as like the Marauder Task Force guns, the Marauder Inc. stuff. So honestly, if it were me, I would probably just replace the weapons that they came with, and they came with that particular assault rifle, and then they came with another one. It came with another one that has a different configuration to it, and that one's kind of nice too. But I think it's still a little bit oversized for the scale. The other thing they came with, which is a little disconcerting, is they all came with extra joints. To me, that's kind of a bad sign when it's like, yeah, we're going to expect you to break joints, so here's a couple extra. They came with extra set of hands too. And the joints they came with, I'm pretty sure, are shoulder joints. So, yeah, that should be a red flag if your figure comes with extra joints. So that was your A figure. Your B figure looks like this. He's got the boonie hat and the squad automatic weapon. Oh, and the boxes have a QC code, QR code on them. I haven't checked that to see what it does. I'm guessing it goes to a website that does not have English on it, so I haven't put a lot of effort into that yet. Excuse me, I'll probably check that out later. So let's look at the B figure. Now, the sculpt of the buck is pretty much it is the same for the whole figure, the whole line. The only thing that changes that's different is the head sculpt, basically. This one has the short-sleeved arms, not the long-sleeved ones. Boonie hat is sculpted on. I mean, it's been 10, 15 years since people have been making removable hats. So I think that's kind of a downside. He's got the same vest as the A figure. It's got the pouch on the back, the radio. Those are all sculpted on, by the way. They don't come off. And then 2 magazines, and then 2 pouches, and then a knife that's removable as well. And then, of course, like I said before, the thigh holster with the pistol and a thigh pouch. The belt, I think, is the same as the other figure. Yeah, it's got the same equipment. I kind of like how the pouches are all glued or all sculpted to the belt. The JoyToy, the first like Russian JoyToy figures, the pouches were not attached to the belt, and they had like a C-shaped piece of plastic that you had to put behind the belt and glue to the pouch to put them on, which is a lot of work, but it's kind of cool because then the pouches can slide on the belt, but it's a lot of work to get one of those figures set up. I mean, it's 30-40 minutes from unboxing until you're ready to have that, until you've got that figure fully assembled. And you get glue everywhere. You might glue that pouch inadvertently to the belt, and then that defeats the whole purpose. You get glue, and you get too much glue somewhere, it goes in a joint, and you've ruined your figure. I didn't like that feature very much. It's unique, it's new. I thought it was kind of innovative, but at the same time, it was a nice idea, but I don't think it was very good. The squad automatic weapon that he comes with is just really kind of weird. It's not like any other one that I've seen before. I'm not real impressed with it. G.I. Joe makes, not G.I. Joe, BBI's Elite Forces figures have squad automatic weapons, which are much, much better. So I probably will replace this one with one of those. So that's the B figure with the boonie hat. All the joints are still the same on it, because like I said, it's the same buck. Get him, get him back on the peg here, and it has the nice, like I said, the nice rocker ankles, which I think are pretty cool. All right, so that was B. Who's the C figure? Ah, yes. So the C figure is our, which I'm guessing is our sniper, because it comes with the sniper rifle. The plastic on these weapons, they're very hard. This is a very hard plastic on this. I had a hell of a time getting that bipod on. There was a little spruce coming off the top of the bipod in the middle where it had been from the injection mold. So I had to kind of cut that off, sand it down a little bit so it would fit in the clamp. And the clamp on the gun itself is very hard plastic, so it didn't want to go in. So I had a hell of a time getting that bipod on. I thought I was going to break that bipod. Luckily, I did not. So this guy, same buck, head sculpt's the only thing different. So this guy's got a contractor's cap on backwards and some, Oakley style shades. The plate carrier is a little different. It's got different pouches sculpted on the front. And then he's got a backpack on the back, which is pretty cool. The backpack's really cool, but it's sculpted on or glued. No, it's sculpted to his plate carrier. It is not removable. I'm not digging that at all. We've had removable backpacks in the G.I. Joe line since 1982. And that was kind of one of the downsides of the original G.I. Joe vintage line, is the peg on that backpack would eventually wear out the hole in your figure because the peg was so hard, it would wear that plastic down. Then your backpack wouldn't stay on anymore. This kind of solves that problem, but I think it's taken it a step too far, because that's one of the issues that they addressed in the and fixed in the modern line, or with the 25th anniversary moving forward, is it has a smaller, softer peg that goes into a smaller hole, so it's not wearing out your peg hole for your backpack. And I think that is definitely one of the improvements that they made in the G.I. Joe figures, is taking care of how the backpack attaches to the figure. I think sculpting the backpack to the plate carrier is a bit excessive, however. It does come with a little combat tomahawk, which clips into the back. I have it clipped in here. And it does open, which is kind of cool. Kind of like the Lowlight and Firefly backpacks. Nope. It does open, and it'll hold some stuff in there. And it closes up pretty nice. The pegs fit right back in the holes. So the backpack is pretty cool. I'm just annoyed that it's sculpted onto the plate carrier. His belt is a little different than the first two figures, and he's got the long sleeve shirt, by the way. But the belt is a little different, and then that's got his knife sculpted onto the right side, and that knife is removable there. And that is your C figure. None of these guys have names or code names. They're A, B, C, D, which is fine. I don't really need names for these guys. The backpack does tend to give this guy a little bit more, make him a little more top heavy, so he doesn't stand up quite as easily. You can still get him standing on his own without the figure stand, but it's a little harder because that backpack is pretty heavy. So that was, here's the box for the C figure. QC code, I gotta look at that, see what it does, but I'm pretty sure it's gonna go to a website that is probably gonna be in Mandarin. D figure here. All right, so that's our assaulter. I think the D and E figures, I don't know, there is a little difference. The D figure, different head sculpt again. So we've got a closed assault helmet, kind of gas mask or air filter. I'm not sure what that's supposed to be. They've got the attachment for night vision, but none of these guys came with any type of anything that would peg on or clip onto the night vision clip. He's got the same tactical vest. Plate carrier is the first two guys with the knife sculpted onto the front, and it is removable. Same assault rifle, same holster and thigh rig. Head sculpt's the only thing different on this guy. So nothing else to really say about that guy. And the box. I do like the head sculpt though. I think it's pretty cool. If I was if I knew how to cast, mold and cast, I would be doing the head sculpts for these guys because they are nice head sculpts. I wouldn't bother with the weapons. The plate carriers, I might be doing the plate carriers too because they're nice. They'd be good for customs as well. Now for the last guy, E. And unfortunately, this is where I ran into some of the QC problems that everybody else is having. So, in general, let's go over just the figure itself. You can see he is missing an arm, and I'll talk about that in a second. So the head is the same as the last guy, and the plate carrier, belt, and sculpted on backpack is the same as, what figure was that? Was that C? Yeah, C. So it's the same plate carrier and backpack as this guy. So it's an amalgamation of the last two guys, basically. The belt is the same as the C figure as well. Knife is removable. It's got the little clip on the back for the little tomahawk. I haven't clipped it on yet. So I was playing with these guys. Well, not playing. I was just getting these guys ready for this show today. And then his arm fell off. I don't think I wasn't even moving his arm. It just fucking fell off. Unfortunately, it did it in such a way, as you can see, that the peg is still in the arm. Of all the problems to have, this is probably the shittiest one that you could have. This is not readily fixable. It's fixable, not with this arm. You know, they all came with the extra, most of them, there's 3 sets of extra arms. So, I mean, it's not the end of the world because I can swap out the arms. I'll just take my Dremel with the smallest ball-shaped burr to it, and I'll just Dremel the peg out of there, and then swap out the forearms, and, you know, that'll be the end of it. But, man, of all the fucking joints to fail, that is the shittiest one to fail because it is not readily fixable. So, nope, dog's barking. Izzy, what are you barking at? You hush. Go away. So what's the verdict on these figures? Well, everything has pros and cons. I think these are fantastic looking figures. I think I might be a little biased towards that just because these are the type of customs that I tend to make, is more realistic military customs. I like the increased articulation over like even just G.I. Joe guys. So I really do like the realism that's involved in these figures. I have pre-ordered the other sets that are coming out, the U.S. military sets. I think I may actually have the next two sets in my Big Bad Toy Store pile of loot. I need to look on that, get those before I go back to Ukraine. The QC issues, man, the quality control issues. I think that's enough to stop a significant portion of people from getting these things. The set is $80, which works out to about $16 a figure. For a small batch toy, they're going to be figures are going to be more expensive to begin with. I mean, you look at the dime store novel Western figures, and they're over $20 a figure. You look at the Vitruvian Hacks figures; they're about $25 a figure. Granted, the Vitruvian Hacks figures tend to come with more accessories and have a significantly higher quality to the figure itself. But this is the only realistic military toy that's out right now. With G.I. Joe gone from the shelves, from the stores, and the significant increase in the secondary market, it is extremely hard to get anything remotely this well, okay. I say that, but the BBI Elite Forces figures are still out. You can still get those on Amazon. They come in a 5-pack as well. I buy one or two of those packs every time I'm home because I use the plate carriers for my customs. And those come with awesome gear, awesome weapons, and the helmets are fantastic on them too. Oh, something's out in the backyard. Dogs are headed out to patrol the sovereign Hatchistan borders. Let's have a moment of thanks to the Hatchistani police, dog police, canine police. So, everything pros and cons, right? I think the realism is the huge plus here. The detractor is maybe the price. Yeah, you have to buy $80 worth of toys all in one go. That has its pros and cons as well. If you just want one figure to try out the line before you throw down for all 5 of them, I can see why you would don't want to spend $80 on these, especially if you start breaking joints off on these guys. And like I said, heating these, I don't think if I heated this guy up, I don't think that would have solved that issue. It fixed the problem that was inherent to the War of Order toys by Devil's Toys. But if I'd stuck this guy in boiling water for 3 minutes before I started fooling around with him, I don't think it would have solved this problem. That joint was going to snap off at some point in time. It may have even precipitated it. So, quality is an issue. I don't like that the backpacks are sculpted onto the plate carriers. Well, I said I was mentioning having to buy the whole set. The pro to that is that I wanted them all, and I didn't want to miss one, which I came close a couple of times on the Russian figures of them selling out before I could get one specific figure, and I was really worried about not getting a couple of these because the sculpt was fantastic. So I didn't miss a figure in the wave because I was able to get the whole wave. I had to get the whole wave at one point, at one time. So that is kind of a positive to me. Before I forget, the bag of weapons comes in this particular box, which says U.S. Army on it. So these guys didn't do much research on U.S. military to figure out the Army is not the same thing as the Marines. Maybe they're Marines, actually, and they're just too busy playing with their crayons and I won't go into that. I was in the Navy, so. And it also comes with another hard case with a figure stand, and again, the sculpt is different on the figure stand than all the other cases. I don't think they make good display cases. They don't really make good figure stands compared to everything else. And the peg looks a little different sized. Let's take a look at that real quick before I forget. Because one of the things that I've noticed is the peg stand, the peg looks to be slightly different sized than your standard peg hole. So here's the Small Joe's figure stand. I like to cut them in half, and then I double my figure stands. And yeah, these are for your modern G.I. Joe's 25th anniversary and above. They also work well with the Marvel Universe figures. Pretty much anything that's been made in the last 10 years, maybe, as far as 3 3/4 inch figures. These are most toy companies in the last several years have made a good job of standardizing the peg hole, which I think is fantastic. I'm not positive on Haya and Devil's toys. I need to check that out just out of curiosity. But the regular G.I. Joe figure stands are not going to work with these figures. I have a vintage figure stand here, and peg is too big. So the figure stands for the hole in the foot for figure stands is proprietary. It is a unique size, unique to this brand of toys, and I don't like that. I don't tend to play with my stuff a lot. Maybe a little bit when I get it. I do tend to display it. I got these guys specifically for my flag. Like I said, I have a really cool display where it's a multiverse. See, now, a little history behind that. I visited a G.I. Joe collector in Texas a number of years ago, and she had a custom-built Jabba's sail barge. And I mean, it was probably 4 feet long. It was 1/18 scale. It was really cool. And she had characters from every toy line on there. Star Wars, G.I. Joe, Black Hole, anything that was Star Trek, anything that was Buck Rogers, anything that was 1/18 scale. She had a figure from like every 1/18 scale line on that Jabba sail barge. It was one of the coolest things that I've ever seen. So I decided that's what I was going to do with my flag. So I've got a running battle between all the toy lines that I have. I have my own custom figures on there. Like I said, Marvel Universe is on there, Hellboy, Transformers. I don't think I have any Star Wars figures on there, or Star Trek figures. I don't think I have any Star Trek figures to begin with. So I got these specifically for my flag and to see what the customizing potential is. And on that note, one of my customizing buddies on Facebook bought one of these specifically for a commission that he was going to do for a customer, and I believe he had the same problem and broke that joint, and he is pissed off, and I don't blame him. You know, I was kind of expecting some quality issues with these figures. I was a little miffed when it broke, but since it came with extra arms and I'm a fairly decent customizer, this is not a problem I can't solve on my own. If you're not a customizer, you're just a collector, or if you're buying these things to do customs for commissions for your customers, and that happened, and I'd be pissed. I would be pissed. So, you know, I think there's a lot of, I think most of the collectors are split on this 50-50 on whether or not to get these guys, because they are cool. They're the only with GI Joe gone. These are about, once you get the two packs of BBI figures that are out there, these are the only new realistic military figures in 1/18 scale out there. I mean, it's the only game in town right now, and that really kind of does suck that there is nothing else out there, but this does kind of fill that gap of not having any GI Joe figures out. And at $16 a pop, I remember when Star Wars figures went up to $10 a pop, 10 years ago. So $16 a figure is not, I don't think it's unreasonable for something like this. I mean, it's highly articulated, it's highly detailed in the sculpt. You're going to pay more for that. And small batch toys are going to be more expensive to begin with. They just don't have the deep pockets like Hasbro and Mattel do to make them cheaper. And with the small batch toys, you're going to see quality issues with this no matter what. I mean, even the Kickstarter Western figures from Dime Store Novel Toys, they come with a little piece of paper in the box that says the elbows will break if you don't heat them up first. It's just a reality of small batch toys, is the quality is not going to be as good as something that you're going to get from Marvel or Hasbro, just because they don't have the deep pockets to do that. So you're going to run into problems like that. The best thing that you can do is preventative maintenance on these figures, these types of figures, by heating them up either with a heat gun or hot water before you start playing with them. Before you do anything with them, just heat them up to loosen all the joints up, and hopefully you'll alleviate some of those problems. But like I said, I don't think that would have solved this particular problem. So shit, what are you going to do? I think most of the collectors and customizers out there are split 50-50 on whether or not to get these guys. And in my review, I'm going to say, man, I'm split 50-50 on recommending these as well. What do you want these for? Do you want them for customs? Probably worth it for the accessories that they come with and the head sculpts. The vests, the plate carriers are fantastic. The thigh holster and thigh pouch are nice, although you can get nice ones from Marauder Task Force now that are, you can just buy the holsters and the thigh pouches. You don't have to buy a whole figure just to get those two pieces. So and they make vests, nice plate carriers as well. So and they're modular. Those are modular. These aren't. It has everything sculpted on there. So man, yeah, as a customizer, is it worth it for $16 a pop just for the heads? Yes, no, maybe. Hard to say. I mean, geez, I've spent $20 or $30 on a GI Joe on the secondary market just for one or two pieces for a custom. I don't like doing it, but I've done it before, so maybe they're not worth it for the weapons. If I was gonna be using these guys for anything more than what I'm going to, I'd be buying a shitload of guns from Marauder Task Force or BBI and rearming these guys. I still may do that because I don't really like these guns. It's not worth it to buy these guys for the guns. They don't really replace GI Joe in the fact that these you can't play with these. It says age 14 and up on the box somewhere. Yeah, 14 and up on the box. So you can't, if you got kids, man, your kids can't play with these. Aside from the whole choking hazard thing, kids are rough on toys. Adults are rough on toys. These are not toys that were made to be played with, unfortunately, like G.I. Joe, like the G.I. Joe figures are. Even the BBI Elite Forces figures are playable figures. They're not articulated like these, which kind of is a detractor of those. So, man, 50-50 on this. What do you want these for? Customs, 50-50. Is it worth it for the head sculpts and the plate carriers? Yeah, maybe. Is it worth it for the weapons? No, not at all. These aren't. Do you want them to play with? I wouldn't recommend it. Do you want them as background for displays? Yeah, I think they're going to be perfect for that. These guys are going to get posed and they're going to get set on the deck of my flag, and that's probably all I'll ever do with them. And that's fine. I mean, that's what I wanted them for. I didn't have any plans to use these for customs. I'm pretty much done using G.I. Joe figures for custom base figures as for customs. Thanks to Marauder Task Force, I like using the Marauder Task Force figures and the Vitruvian Hacks figures for my customs now. Even my realistic military figures, most of them are the new contract ops figures. They're affordable and they're easy to get, whereas G.I. Joe is on the secondary market isn't. So I wouldn't buy these guys for customs. It's a mixed bag with these things, unfortunately. So I can't really say one way or the other whether these are to recommend them or not, which is kind of a first for me, because normally I get something and it's like, yeah, these are fantastic figures. There may be a few issues with them, but they're worth getting. Like the Devil's Toys War of Order figures. They have a few issues with them, but you heat them up with water, they're fine. The Acid Rain figures, highly recommend those. Those are awesome figures. I've never had any quality issues with those. The Hiya Toys, I don't have any of the Marines or the Aliens. I have all of the Predators. I've heated those up. I haven't had any problems with the Predators. I have seen some quality issues in my Facebook groups. I don't know about the Injustice figures. I only have the Batman open so far, and I heated him up, so he's fine. So, man, it's 50-50 on these. $80 is a lot to gamble on these. So, depends on how badly you want realistic military figures. I think the rest of the figures that are coming out are going to be using the same bucks. They're just going to be different. They're just going to be painted a little different. So we're already looking at repaints. The weapons are probably going to be the same, but you can always replace weapons with BBI or Marauder weapons. So, man, it's a mixed bag. I would probably say probably not worth getting. Probably not worth it. Which I really hate to say that about realistic military figures. I mean, these are in line with the type of customs that I like to make, but the quality issues would preclude me from recommending these to anybody that doesn't have the money to drop on these. I mean, for a lot of collectors, $80 is not that big of an investment for 5 figures. But a lot of collectors, that's a lot to fork out for something that might be crap. Like I said, this is easy for me to fix, but it might not be easy to fix for everybody. So my recommendation for you, if you want to see if these figures will work well for you, is to look on eBay or Facebook groups and see if you can get just one of these guys at a time. Get one. You might have to spend a little bit more, $20-25 just to get one separately. Surely somebody's reselling these by now. Surely there's somebody reselling these in groups, or somebody that, like me, broke one off and they're like, fuck it, I don't want these things, I'm gonna get rid of them. There's always people like that. So get one and see if it works for you. If you do get one, stick it in some boiling water for 3 minutes, heat it all up, see if that helps you with some quality issues. Other than that, maybe just skip these, because these are not, they're sort of a replacement for G.I. Joe, but the quality issues, maybe not. All right, so that's my review for the JoyToy Armed Forces USMC figures, figures A through E, with the nice hard cases that they come in, and figure stands which are proprietary. Very cool looking. Definitely got some quality issues. All right, thanks for watching the video. Comment below, ask questions below. I'm always open to suggestions for videos, video topics. Like the channel, share the video. Check me out on Facebook for Go Figure Customs by Hawkeye. I'm going to have some new customs up coming probably in the next few days. Actually got a new figure up day before yesterday. I did my interpretation, reimagination of Alpine. So go take a look at that on my Facebook page. And thank you for watching, thank you for sharing, and thank you for following. And we'll see you next time.